Hello, I'm Chris, and this is AI Kilobytes, a show where we take complex works and break them down into easily digestible summaries. Feel free to change the playback speed to suit your needs. If your mind wanders or you are confused by a topic, pausing and returning to a previous point is suggested. Additionally, please take notes if you are listening to this for a class assignment, as this has been proven to be more effective for learning than simply listening. Without further ado, today we will be dissecting the first two chapters of Daniel Kahneman's influential work, Thinking Fast and Slow. The first two chapters of the book introduce and elaborate on the core concept of two systems of thinking. These are referred to as System 1 and System 2, terms borrowed from psychologists Keith Stanovich and Richard West. Chapter 1. The Characters of the Story. This chapter introduces System 1 and System 2 as the main characters in the story of how the mind works. It's important to note that the author clarifies that these systems are fictitious characters and metaphors used to make it easier to think and talk about judgment and choice. They are not actual systems in the brain. System 1 operates automatically and quickly, requiring little or no effort and lacking a sense of voluntary control. It is the source of impressions, feelings, inclinations, and intuitions. System 1 creates a coherent pattern of activated ideas in associative memory, links cognitive ease to illusions of truth, pleasant feelings, and reduced vigilance, distinguishes the surprising from the normal, infers and invents causes and intentions. It is biased to believe and confirm, and it neglects ambiguity while suppressing doubt. System 1 cannot be turned off at will. Its operations are often subtle and beyond conscious awareness. Examples of System 1 activities range from perceiving distance and recognizing objects to understanding simple sentences and driving on an empty road. System 2 is the effortful system that allocates attention to mental activities demanding it, such as complex computations. Its operations are associated with subjective experience of agency, choice, and concentration. System 2 can construct thoughts in an orderly series of steps and is capable of deliberate comparison, searching memory, following rules, and making choices based on multiple attributes. It is also responsible for monitoring behavior and exercising self-control, sometimes overriding the impulses of System 1. However, System 2 is described as lazy, reluctant to exert more effort than necessary. This laziness means that System 2 often endorses the suggestions generated by System 1 with little critical review. The interaction between the two systems is continuous. System 1 constantly produces suggestions, impressions, intuitions, etc., which System 2 can either endorse, turn into beliefs and actions, or modify. System 2 is mobilized when System 1 encounters difficulties, when surprise is detected, or when careful reasoning is required. The Mueller-Lyer illusion example demonstrates that System 1 can produce persistent illusions that System 2 knows are false but cannot suppress. Overcoming such cognitive illusions is difficult because System 1 is automatic. It requires System 2 vigilance to recognize situations where intuition might be biased and exert effort to apply corrective measures. However, constant vigilance is impractical due to System 2's limitations and laziness. Chapter 2. Attention and Effort. This chapter delves deeper into the characteristics of System 2, particularly its reliance on attention and effort. 1. The operations of System 2 demand attention and are disrupted when attention is diverted. Engaging System 2 requires effort, which is associated with physiological changes like pupil dilation. The amount of pupil dilation indicates the level of mental effort exerted. Mental life, guided by System 2, is typically experienced as a comfortable pace, stroll, occasionally requiring increased effort, jogging, or intense concentration, sprinting. 2. Attention is a limited capacity resource. This is dramatically illustrated by experiments like the invisible gorilla study, where participants focused on counting passes failed to notice a person in a gorilla suit walking across the screen. This highlights that we can be blind to the obvious when our attention is fully occupied, and that we are often unaware of our own blindness. 3. System 2 manages this limited capacity by prioritizing tasks, ensuring the most important activity receives necessary attention even under cognitive load. 4. System 2 is capable of adopting task sets, which are instructions to override habitual responses. But maintaining these sets requires continuous effort. Examples include counting specific letters on a page or consciously driving on the left side of the road in the United Kingdom. 5. Cognitive effort and self-control draw on a shared pool of mental energy. When System 2 is busy or depleted, like from mental effort, lack of sleep, or alcohol, its ability to monitor and control System 1 is weakened. This allows System 1 to have more influence on behavior, leading to increased impulsivity, selfish choices, and superficial judgments. Studies suggest that mental effort consumes glucose, and replenishing glucose can counteract the effects of ego depletion. 6. The laziness of System 2 is a significant factor in judgment errors. It often accepts the intuitive answers provided by System 1 without verifying them, even when a quick check would reveal the error. The bat and ball puzzle serves as a prime example, where the intuitive but wrong answer, 10 cents, is accepted by System 2 without checking the math. People who fall for this exhibit intellectual sloth. System 2 is also susceptible to believing arguments that support conclusions it already believes are true, a form of belief bias. Psychologists distinguish between intelligence, related to the algorithmic capacity of System 2, and rationality, related to the willingness of System 2 to engage and question System 1's suggestions. Tests like the cognitive reflection test are seen as better indicators of rationality and susceptibility to cognitive biases than traditional intelligence measures. In essence, these chapters lay the foundation for the book by introducing the fundamental duality of human thinking. System 1 is the fast, automatic engine of intuition, constantly generating interpretations and suggestions. System 2 is the slow, effortful controller, capable of logical reasoning and self-control, but limited by its capacity and propensity for laziness. Errors often arise from the interaction of these two systems, particularly when a lazy System 2 fails to override or correct the intuitive biases of System 1. With that, we have completed the summary of the first 2 chapters of Thinking Fast and Slow. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe, as that really helps us out. Also, if you have any suggestions or critiques, we greatly appreciate any and all feedback. This has been Chris with AI Bytes. I hope to see you in our next AI Kilobytes video discussing thinking fast and slow. Until then, keep striving for greatness. Goodbye.